Caitlin Clark is the biggest superstar in women's basketball. She broke countless records on and off the court while in college, leading to Clark being the #1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA. Clark is enjoying a brilliant rookie season where she's showing that the jump to professional basketball is nothing for a special talent like her. Let's take a look at how some of the WNBA's very best have reacted to playing against Caitlin Clark in her first season. A'ja Wilson. While Caitlin Clark might be one of the biggest names in the WNBA at the moment, she's still a little way off being the league's best player. That crown almost certainly goes to Las Vegas Aces forward A'ja Wilson, who's having what looks like another MVP season. Wilson has not always been the biggest fan of Caitlin Clark, even having some harsh words for Clark. Before the WNBA season even started, Wilson said that Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise to stardom is down to her race instead of her incredible ability to hit threes from anywhere on the court. When Wilson got asked about the Caitlin Clark hate, she avoided the question like it was the plague. She did not jump to the defense of Clark, instead shifting the focus back onto herself and her team.
I am actually off social media, so my reaction is pretty late, but it's noise that I don't really listen to, honestly, because I'm in season. I have other things that we need to worry about than what other people have to say. I have a scout, and I have 11 other minds on my team in my locker room that we got to make sure that we're on the same mindset.
But it seems like the beef between the two is settled. When Wilson was asked about what the rookies have brought to this season of WNBA basketball, she said she loved the energy and the vibe that is being brought to the league.
The energy, I feel like the energy is good. It's a good vibe. It's a good feel. People are really just coming to see the product on the floor.
Breanna Stewart. It seems like every WNBA professional is a little bit hesitant to put the shine on Caitlin Clark despite her greatness. Reigning MVP Breanna Stewart has clearly felt the same sort of way. There's no doubt that Caitlin Clark is getting a lot of media attention this season, even more so than any of the WNBA's top stars. But that's partly down to the fact that she was already incredibly popular before joining the league. Caitlin Clark broke countless attendance records and viewership records while playing for Iowa in college. That stardom was always going to transfer over to the WNBA, no matter how she started off her career. While it seems like the Indiana Fever Guard is a lock for the Rookie of the Year award, the reigning MVP clearly feels differently. Chicago's Sky rookie and Clark's rival Angel Reese is second in Rookie of the Year odds at the moment and will be Clark's closest competition for the rest of the year. Despite Caitlin putting up more impressive numbers, Stewart made it very clear that she thinks Angel Reese has been the more impressive rookie of the two.
You know, like she has range like no other. But I think Angel, the way that she is constantly working hard, doing all like the dirty work right now.
It doesn't really make sense when you look at the numbers or watch either of them on the court. It's not all harsh words, however, from the reigning MVP. Stewart was on the Pat McAfee show and was asked pretty bluntly whether she hated Clark, replying with a pretty well-considered answer.
It's a word on the street.
I heard everybody hates her.
Oh my God. No way.
That's what people
Right,
that's how it feels. That's how it feels in Indiana.
No.
No, I mean, I think I'm happy for her to be in this league, obviously. I'm happy that she's brought a whole bunch of new eyes along with Angel Reese.
Breanna Stewart is certainly someone who knows what it takes to play at the highest level, so giving Caitlin Clark that kind of respect is good to see. Sabrina Ionescu. But even some of Stewart's teammates haven't been very respectful to Clark, even when she's putting up historic numbers. New York Liberty's point guard Sabrina Ionescu certainly holds a lot of respect for Caitlin Clark, particularly as she's been forced to guard her on several occasions. But that didn't stop her from belittling Clark and the Indiana Fever after a loss. Very recently, Caitlin Clark became the youngest player in WNBA history to record a triple-double as the Fever upset the Liberty. It was a huge result for Indiana, as New York are one of the best teams in the WNBA at the moment. You can tell that Sabrina was a little salty, as Clark's triple-double broke her previous record by almost a year. After the game, Sabrina took a verbal swipe at Clark and the Fever, saying that this game was their Super Bowl, and the Liberty did not match that intensity. That must have been hard to hear for Caitlin Clark, saying that before she had the lead, she spoke about how Sabrina was an inspiration to her, particularly because of the similar play styles the two have. Before the season, the Liberty guard was a lot more complimentary. It's clear that Ionescu can see the impact that Caitlin Clark is having on the WNBA. Brittany Griner. It really seems like every WNBA superstar does not like the stardom that Caitlin Clark has, as well as the massive following she's brought to the league. One of the most notable stars certainly feels like that, with 10-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Griner having at times some harsh words for Clark. Sure, it's not all bad, but when Griner was asked by TMZ about the rookie class that is lighting up the WNBA and bringing huge crowds to games, she was very complimentary. Griner said, "I think it's amazing for women's sports with these rookies. I think it's amazing." Of course, Griner is on the same team as WNBA legend Diana Taurasi, who famously had some harsh words for Caitlin Clark while she was in college. But just as with any other rookie, Griner seems to avoid the questions when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Just look at her answer when asked whether she thought Clark should be part of Team USA for the Olympics this summer.
I don't want to be on that committee. That's what I've always said. It's a hard committee. There's so many times, each year on who is on the team and who isn't on the team. It's tough. It's tough.
That is avoiding the question like a professional, with Griner making sure she upset absolutely no one. So it seems like despite her greatness, Caitlin Clark is still going to need to do more to get the respect out of some of the WNBA's best players. Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner. Clark has certainly faced some tough matchups this season. She was on the end of a difficult night against the Connecticut Suns back in June, finishing out the game with just 10 points, having been restricted to just 8 shots throughout the game. Despite a lackluster performance, her opponents could still see the quality that Caitlin Clark has. The Suns had their best players facing the media after the game, with guard Tiasha Harris giving Clark some credit.
She's good at shooting, getting to the basket and creating others. But we just stuck with the game plan, and Nay did a hell of a job in the first 3 quarters, so it just helped her out.
A laugh makes it pretty clear that Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner are not massive fans of the media still asking questions about Caitlin Clark even after a loss. But when you're the biggest name in the sport, people are gonna focus their attention on you. Aliyah Boston. Clark is certainly facing some criticism for her performances this season. The rookie is averaging an impressive 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists per game so far this year. But she has just shot 33% from the three-point line and is struggling with turnovers, averaging a WNBA high 5.5 turnovers per game. Those numbers make sense when you consider Clark is the star of a struggling team, still in her first season. While she's not getting a lot of support from the rest of the league, Caitlin Clark is at least getting plenty of support from her teammates, including former first overall pick Aliyah Boston.
Don't worry, because you look at Caitlin and you look at the way she passes the ball, and so sometimes things are gonna happen that way, and that's okay.
The pair of them seem to be building brilliant chemistry together, and the Fever could have the core of their team in front of them for the next decade. The two of them fit together perfectly, and it's pretty clear that while Caitlin Clark likes to stay humble, Aliyah Boston does a lot to support her co-star.
She's so humble, isn't she?
Well, I don't know what to say.
Let me tell
Like, I mean, it's great.
That's
I don't know.
Pretty cool, Caitlin.
That is exactly the sort of support that Clark needs. After her historic triple-double, Caitlin Clark got some pretty nice support from her teammate Kelsey Mitchell.
I'm honestly not surprised. I mean, I think if you guys seen her do it, for accumulation of 4 years, I don't think it'll be too difficult on the pro level.
It shows that Caitlin Clark is clearly having a big impact, not just on her opponents, but also on her teammates. They get to see her brilliant playmaking ability and limitless range on a daily basis. So yeah, I guess it's not really too surprising to see Clark putting up a triple-double. Christy Sides. Her own head coach has pretty much got nothing but praise for Caitlin Clark already in her first season. Christy Sides was asked about Clark's run at the Rookie of the Year award and had some very high praise for Caitlin Clark, comparing her to one of the WNBA's greatest players of all time. Now that is some very high praise from a coach who's been in the WNBA for more than a decade. Caitlin Clark is going to be a problem in the WNBA for a very long time. She already plays like a longtime WNBA veteran and can only get better as she continues to develop. How good do you think Caitlin Clark is? Put your thoughts in the comments down below. While you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.